Hello and good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. We're going to do this lovely wood slab with a pottery mug, a glowing candle, and a mushroom. Let's get started on this fun and cozy painting. Good morning, good afternoon. Like I said, if you're new here, I'm Stephanie. This is Deliberately Creative. We're here on a Sunday. It's still morning for me, and I am going into this as a cozy and comforting type of painting. We're going to have warm colors. We're going to have that cozy glow. I think the background is going to be taken to a little bit of a darker stage so we can show more of that glowing candle. And I want to say welcome everyone coming into the live stream. Thank you so much for your loving kindness and support. Showing up at the live streams really makes a difference to me. And also clicking that subscribe button and the notification bell. Now, I want to address something really quick. I know most of my loyal community that come in, they already know all about this, but I did post a whole passel of live streams that I scheduled ahead, and many of you are like, yay, awesome, I love knowing that this is going on. And some of you were like, ooh, why did you just post 15 videos and fill up my feed? So if you turn on all notifications, you'll be notified when I do things like that. But you'll also be notified when I do surprise live shows. If you put your notifications on to sometimes or limited, you'll get notifications once in a while. You won't get them all the time. But you can always look in your subscription feed for my videos if you don't want to be notified in mass like that. So thank you so much, guys. Yesterday was just sort of a tender day. I'd had a whole bunch of subscribers leave all of a sudden, and I thought, oh my gosh, when somebody said, hey, you dumped a bunch on us, I'm unsubscribing, I thought everybody was doing that. I don't know. It's probably not that. Some of it may have been the cleanup that YouTube does. Some of it may have been people just cleaning up their own stuff. But anyway, that's all I'm going to talk about on that. And I just wanted to say thank you to all of my fans and community members who in the community tab made a comment of support. And it really, really made me feel so much better about the day. So there we go. We're on to this. The designs are all coming out of my 30 creative, cozy and creative designs. This was all drawn in one massive 14-hour marathon of drawing. And then I made it into a downloadable book so you can have all of the art that was drawn from that show. Yeah. And you can print it out. You can use it as coloring pages. You can use it as references for your own artwork. And have fun. The link is up in the iCard once the video's done, down below in the more information, and over in the chat box, pinned at the top. Looking forward to oranges and warm colors. Yeah. Oh, you found paint pencils. You thought they were chalk. Oh, Uncle Dan, excellent. So now you have watercolor pencils. What he's talking about is watercolor pencils like these. I have a few of them put down here in front of me so that if I need it, I can push in some extra deep shadows or I can put some brighter tones. However, I am using the Core watercolors for this painting. These are made by the Golden Paint Company, and this is their watercolors. They do a lot of acrylics, but these are their watercolors, and these were from tubes I squeezed into the little pans, made myself a swatch card so I know what's going on, and they just have all of these lovely warm glowing colors. I am going to go ahead and put us on the top down. Now look at this. We have kind of a dull background. But I'm going to actually push it to a darker, deeper, like umber tones and darker browns, not black, not black. But I want to get some of those darker tones in there. And then I want to, you see how that mug is just a speckled white? I think that my mug, whoa, my brush is dirty. That was unexpected. Where did that come from? Wow. Good thing I'm taking this background into a dark color. I'm going around my wood and around the mug. Just going to lay in kind of like a photography background. You know those sort of like the one that's in the reference, but more to the darker tones. So it feels almost like this wood is getting spotlighted. I am doing this on the Hanamulla bamboo the Hanamulla bamboo mixed media paper. And because I'm not going to do a lot of funky technique on the background, I'm mostly just getting it wet, dropping paint on it, and then getting it dry. Comfy, cozy. Yeah, this is a cozy, calm and cozy, I think is what we all need right now. Haha, excellent. Oh, I'm so glad that you're here, Miss Amy. I am going to go in, and this brush is kind of big, but I'm going to sort of moosh it into the spot. I do not have my little trays stuck down. These in the middle are just dropped in to that space in between the rows, and you notice how they're sideways instead of tall. That way I got 17 colors in here. I could probably maybe jam one more, but not really. So right now I've got, this lovely Van Dyke brown. It's a nice deep color. I'm just going to, my background is wet. So I'm going to drop some of that Van Dyke brown in there. I'm going to grab, come on, some of that umber brown. I'm probably going to put a bit of blue in there also. I want this to get really dark, but I do need a soft area also. So we're going to see how this works. I'm figuring it out as I go along. So there we go. Hello, everyone coming in. Welcome to the show. This is, like I said, calm, cozy, just taking care of ourselves. I don't know why I just colored that handle in. That's the handle. Oh well, it'll be dark. I'm going to wipe that little bit out, and this is just a bit of kitchen towel. I'm just gonna get that a little bit wiped out. I think I'm gonna take this mug into like the teal blues, deep color. So yeah, I did. I just dropped that right on the inside of the handle when I wasn't expecting it there. I think I'm going to grab a bit of, maybe a little bit of this cadmium. Ooh, look at that. Whoosh, whoosh. Cad red into it. I really want to warm it up and get it darker. But like I said, I'm going to have to lighten it up in a few spots. But if you think you've got it light enough when it's wet, it's going to be way too light. So I'm trying to remind myself of that. Watercolor does dry lighter. Ooh. But I do like that bit of light up there. I think I'm going to grab some more of the dark brown, that Van Dyke, just straight onto the paper. I'm going right against that wood also. I'm going to take my wood into a slightly different tone, so that way... Well, Miss Amy, I only took one day off. I've been live. every day except for Saturday. I decided I need to take some time for myself. So I'm going to lighten this up down here at the bottom. It's going to be more in the foreground, but I want to pump up the darkness in the background. How about that? More of that. Here, let's do this. We'll just take that out of there so it's not making so much noise. So you can do that. You can take your pans out so you can get your brush in without making as much of a mess. Darker right there, darker here. Just really pumping up the darkness, letting the paint sort of ooze around. I liked the whoosh of that red. I'm just going to grab a touch more of it. Really warm up that darkness. All right, so there we go. I think that's good for the moment. I want to dry it and see where we are. Excellent. The stump reminds you of sitting on firewood and watching the fire pit in Montana. Oh, yeah. You know, the top of the stump, and you set your mug down, watch the fire. I'm just going to dry that just a little bit with my paper towel because it was starting to really run in. I'm going to wipe out just right around that handle. There. I'm not worried about it having some tone on it. I could have toned the whole thing. I think I want this front corner a little bit darker. See? Ah, there. Oh, you were missing your sister for a few days. Well, you know, especially when I just look up and, as I've said before, I only see about a third of the chat as it's going on during the show. I try to go in and take a look afterwards. And so I only saw a part. We're going to go ahead and dry this really quick. And as I do, I'm just going to say, hey, if you're new, click that subscribe button and make sure and do the notifications if you want to be notified when all of my videos and things are scheduled, when I go live. You'll also get notifications when I post onto the community tab or make posts. So, just so you know, those things will be there. I'm just drying this so that the paper will flatten out a little bit. I can see a little bit more of what I've got going on. And remember, this tape is covering the edge of the paper, so we'll have that pretty clean white margin going around. The bamboo paper is softer. It's not over absorbent, but it is softer and a little bit more delicate on the surface. So when you are doing stuff on the surface of this paper, if you're going to scrub on it, it's going to peel up. So you don't want that to happen. Let's see. Yeah, that's good. I like that little burst of red right there. Got a bit of blue or something on my hand too. Let's just wipe that off. There we go. The cup of water is great for dipping your finger in and getting the random paint off. I'm looking at this and going, I want to wash in my light kind of teal blue. And the reason why I want a teal blue is so when I put my little candle glow going on, I can lighten it up and have a little bit of a reflection, and it will go a little green. And I think that'll be pretty. So I'm going to just get my first layer, because then I'm going to go and do the wood plank and then come back and do the cup. But I wanted to have a little bit of color on here just so I knew where I was. So I'm taking some of this cobalt teal, but that's just too blue. I'm going to take a tiny touch of sap green into that cobalt teal. And like I said, this is going to just be our base color. It's going to be the lightest color. I'm not going to have any white. There is going to be shadow. There is going to be some, random flecking of colors and things like that. I'm going to go ahead and just put in paint on that whole handle. See how the brown that was on there? It's just adding to the texture of the color. It's giving us more. It's giving us more. And I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of color, even though it's going to be way darker on the inside. I just want to get some color sort of started. It's just going to hold my place. And if I put in a little bit more and get it a little bit darker to begin with, oh well, you know what? It's okay. I just added that little touch of color in there. I guess I am going to go ahead and we can do more detail, but I am that person. I get started on an area and it's like, oh, but what will happen if I do this? And what will happen if I do that? And my goodness, I like that mug already. There's going to be some darker detail at the top rim, and I will have it so that it sort of flows down in. I guess I could do that now. I'm going to just take a little bit of that brown into my teal. I'm going to pick up some Payne's Gray. Ooh, yeah. Oh, yeah, the Payne's Gray is nice because it makes it feel kind of like that pottery glaze that's around the rim. A little bit of detail. This first layers, we're going to be glazing other colors in, but you know what? I'm going to just sort of let that get in there and kind of ooze down just a bit. And maybe even put some speckles on. All right, Dan, you heading out? Let's see. I want some speckles on the cup. This is the Payne's Gray darker color that we have. If the speckles get around on other places, it's not a big deal. Some speckles inside the cup, no big deal, no heartache. I don't mind if they kind of ooze out, actually. A few of the speckles in the background, too. It's going to give us some texture, maybe some speckles across the mushroom. Dark stars? Maybe they're dark stars, but it's kind of that speckled pottery glaze, just like on the reference. Similar, not exactly the same. Seriously, love your techniques. I've been doing the border and it definitely feels more finished, maybe more complete anyway. Yeah, sometimes when you do a border like that, I'm just wiping out a few of those dots that were feeling very matchy going across. See, you can do that. Don't like something showing up so strong, you can wipe it out. Look at that. Boom. So we're getting our mug in. I want to get that wood in. So I need to dry this so that the wood doesn't ooze into the mug. And I want to dry those little speckles just so that I don't smear across them. Just because. I did not draw the flame on the candle, so that way when we're putting the candle in, we can put it in with light, with color. Your wife's given you your chores list. Aha. Well, Sunday chores. I baked up some little empanada turnover things. I didn't get my reservation to go into Linda's live stream class that she did this morning on Tangi, but I did make empanadas. I made raspberry. Basically, mine are like turnovers because my pastry ended up being a little bit crispy when I baked it in the air fryer. All right, I'm looking at this going, we need kind of a yellow ochre-ish color, and I did not put a yellow ochre in my palette. So I'm going to take the quinacridone gold and some of that brown that's there. Now that's going to be really, really bright. Whoosh, that's really bright. And then I'm going to pick up a smidge of the burnt sienna. Ooh, that's going a little bit more toned down. Maybe a little bit of the burnt umber. And then, see, it's a little more acidy than a burnt umber. Let's see. What if I put just a touch, or yellow ochre. Ooh, just a tiny bit of pyrrole orange in it. That's making it look a little more earthy. Oh, I like that. And now the mushroom, because I don't have, see, that's pretty dark. I need some more water. Let's just push that out. It is not yellow ochre. It is just, it's a mixed up color. When I get my brush really run out of color, I might go across the mushroom, but I think my mushroom is going to be more like those little white brown mushrooms, kind of more like the cremini, or white, or actually those are a little more darker brown. So probably just those little white mushrooms that you get in the grocery store, buy them in a paper bag. I'm just putting a layer of color down on that wood, on the wood slice, just to start toning it, because we want our lightest tone on here. If your store carries the brand Outshine, ooh. Straight fruit popsicles. I've seen those, yes. I've actually had some. I think I had mango. Oh yeah, that's going to be a good base color. I think I'm going to go ahead and just put that down on my bark also. See, and I wanted it to be enough different from the, see, and then that part there is actually wood. The bark sort of peeled off on this round, but I am just throwing some color in. Button mushroom, yeah. Just a little button mushroom. So I'm thinking about things to do for future drawing marathons and such. Shauna had mentioned maybe doing something dealing with planets. I was thinking of maybe doing something. Would you guys be interested in like little mini houses? You know, where I would do it on this size paper, but I would box it off so that it's in the middle of the page, not with an actual box, but with just so that we can make the house sitting in a landscape if we want, but doing little houses. A creator that I watch, Minnie Small, she, and her name really is Minnie Small, she a few years ago did a whole series of little houses on her channel, and then she made them into a little book. But I was thinking we could do a marathon, draw up all the little houses at one time, and then we could paint them together and see what our village looks like. I'm also thinking about here, I want to rotate this and work this background color back in around the handle a little bit. I'm also thinking on Teespring putting in, maybe doing some little Valentine or I love you booklets that are, you know, that single page book that I showed you guys how to do on another video. I could have them pre-printed with little, you know, it's 8 pages done up, and I could do it with little mini coloring pages or painting pages that we could do. Probably not as a marathon. I would just get it done because I need to get it done and uploaded soon so that it would be available for Valentine's or for whenever. But kind of like the I love you because, and then let people, you know, make it so that it's a little fill-in book also. So I love you because, you know, you laugh at all my jokes. I love it when you, those kinds of things. I do, does she do gouache videos? Yes. Minnie Small does gouache videos, and she's very calming, very gentle. She's a Brit, and so it's always fun to have a different perspective on things. She hasn't been doing a ton of videos lately. I think the lockdown in Britain has been a bit more of a trial for her than she would want. She also moved house, so they moved their apartment. I just picked up some of that brown right off the side, and I'm just sort of dropping it in and starting to work out where are my shadows. And, you know, so it's kind of like I've got a palette of paint already sitting here. Why not pick it up and use it? So I'm just picking up some of that paint that's on the side, on the tape, and bringing it in and making a bit of a shadow. Yeah, I'm just sort of in that chatty place today. And I think that's part of the booklets are cute. That sounds like fun. Yes, thank you. Oh, I'm so glad. So yeah, doing the little booklets. And I just got an email from Amazon saying that 3 of my pages in my little book, the printed book for this, I have to make the images go out farther to the edge. So I will get that updated today, and hopefully they will get it approved soon. Like, you know, before the end of the month. It took them several days. It took them like 5 days to get back to me that there was a problem. So, you know, you end up with those times when things are not going as smoothly as you intend. A flower bouquet goes with I'd always pick you. Ooh, Debbie, I love your list. You want to share your list? I mean, I generally will do my own searching for stuff. And I am saying that sort of in jest, but sort of in, hey, you know, if you want to share your list. I'm just adding some more color down here, darkening that up just a bit so this can have some light on it. You love how the colors are popped? Yeah, you know, it's so fun to do this. Let's see. It's still a little damp, not super damp. So what I'm going to do though is go ahead and put some of the Van Dyke Brown, the Burnt Umber, Van Dyke Brown, Burnt Umber, and a little touch of the Burnt Sienna. And I'm going to go ahead and put some of that indication of the rings. Let's see if we get into that close up. Ooh, there we go. Let's see. That way. That way. There we go. So if you break your lines, your eyeballs will still make the line. If you break the line, your eyes will still make the line. But when it comes up to a hard edge, I do want that line to make sure that it hits that edge. It can break in the middle of it, but I want it to hit the edge. I'm going to take some water over this and sort of soften them out just a little bit. Does that help out? Does that view help you guys? I've noticed that every once in a while I will actually just watch my hand on the screen paint. It's quite surreal when you're watching your hand move. You know you're moving your hand, but it looks like somebody else. But this gives you, that different view on it. Let's see, can I do that? And the neat thing about having those pen lines on there is that if I miss area or decide that it doesn't have to be as heavy or dark, it still gives that indication of the wood. And those growth rings. I'm just kind of filling in. You want those lines to go all the way up, like to the edge of the cup, to the edge of your... those are the places where the lines actually need to touch. Just like that. Because, let's see here. Which way am I going? Towards me this way. Let's see if it's actually going to continue to pick up on my phone. Oh yeah, I've got my phone going too. Hot chocolate one, you warm my heart. Or if it's with marshmallows, you melt my heart. Oh no, I'm never tired of cups and drinks. And truthfully, I have to do them now. So I'm right in the middle of my cups and drinks phase. So no, this is perfect timing. Actually, I should have had it already done and posted, because people are starting to look for Valentine's already. All right. That's nice and warm. Nice, warm, and cozy. So I'll just make my regular little once a video post or thing, is that this isn't a shout out channel, and generally speaking, I only shout out people who I know or who have been participants in my community for a long time. So just as a by the way, if that's what you came in for, we are an art channel, and we are a fun place to gather with friends who want to do art. And we are, again, not a place where we just shout out people in general. Hang out, become known to us as part of our channel community, and I will hope to support you because I love supporting my community. I'm just dropping some shadow in on the wood using kind of that same wood color. I'm looking at that reference and going, back here is really dark, almost going to be as dark as the background, not quite. So there we are. Yeah, so I'm just in that really chill place today. I hope that you are having a lovely, calm and quiet Sunday. I'm going to zoom in just a bit. Hello, Miss Bonnie. Welcome. So glad that you're able to join us today. I am going to put kind of a dark spot right there. And kind of that dark, real dark right down in there. In that crack of the wood. And then fill it in with the dark going all the way back in whatever bit of that crack is open. I love cake. Oh, you're the icing on my cake. Yeah, that's a good one. Who doesn't like cake? I mean, really. Whoops. That's okay. I needed that one lifted up anyway, right? This is the burnt umber. I'm just get a bit more burnt umber and a touch of Payne's gray. Ooh, yeah. Burnt umber and Payne's gray. I'm just going to drop it down in here. In that crack area there. Maybe that spot. Look at how that just pumps up that dark. I'm going to go ahead and get my bark edge into that really dark range. So that's the natural bark that's around the edge. I might dab it just on the inside edge of it. So now it's going to be a darker tone, but it's not going to be as dark. There. Hello, Ready, Set, Watch. You're new? I hope that you are having a fun time. If you're new, guys, make sure that you are clicking that subscribe button. Turn on notifications if you want to be notified when I post new videos and when I post new live streams. Sometimes about, once or twice a month, there might be a whole bunch of things get posted at once. And I'm trying to be, trying to maybe only do that once or twice a month instead of, lots and lots of times. I'm going to put more of that really dark on that bark. The really dark color is the burnt umber, Van Dyke brown, and a little bit of Payne's gray. Start getting that bark worked in. Sort of in a impressionistic way, kind of, not perfectly formed bark. I like how this bark sort of stacked up its edges. See how you get that light and dark going on here? And it makes it look like the bark is sort of laying on top. Hello, Karen. Oh yeah, we're a fun and friendly group. I love my community here. You guys are some of the best. Now, my cracks that I've got in the little wood here, the little edge, this is that edge. It could be a little bit rough. It's that inner bark area where the when you peel the bark off, there's this sort of inner bark area. Warm that up just a smidge. And it's got texture in there, so I'm sort of putting some texture. I can get drilled down into the fiddly little bits. One would not have thought that I would get drilled into all the fiddly little bits if you were new here. But I do. I drill into fiddly bits. And that's kind of cool. It's fun. And you can do as much or as little as you wish. If you are looking for all of the designs, they are available in my 30 cute or cozy and creative designs book. It's a downloadable that you can download from Teespring, and then you can draw and paint along with me. I'm doing a video for every one of the pieces of art in the book. So let's turn to that page. So we're flipping through here. Turn to that page. Okay. So let's zoom out just a smidge so you can see. This is where we started. This is where we are so far. And right there, boom, boom, that is the reference that we're using. But as you can see, I changed the eyeglasses to a mushroom. It's okay. You can do things like that. But now you can see a pretty basic outline drawing. You can just color it with colored pencils, watercolor pencils, whatever you want, watercolor, gouache. Do it big on an acrylic canvas. Awesome. I'm doing it on 5.5 by 8.5 pieces of the Hanamula bamboo mixed media paper. So there we go. Mark is my husband. So if you're interested in who Mark is, that's my husband. And he's helping me out here, keeping an eye on the chat, getting me questions if there's questions. I'm just using a little bit of that brown that's in my brush and on the paper. Take a little bit more brown. I'm going to put some shadow in around that mushroom and sort of blur it out. Some shadow around the cup. See? So do you guys like it when I do that, show the drawing without any paint on it, show the painting where we are, and show the reference? Do you guys like that screen? If you know, because you could take a screenshot of that screen and you'd have the reference, you'd have sort of the colorway that I worked. Does that help you out any? Or should I just skip doing that and just keep pushing forward? More dark behind that. It needs to be more dark. The mushroom is lovelier. Ah, well, you know, it kind of gives you a bit more of a cozy and homey feel, I think. The glasses are nice, and we do have one coming up that does have glasses. But, you know, I think it makes more sense because the glasses are sitting on a book than having glasses sitting on the wood. It's just the way my brain works. And I'm just putting some of this darker tone in, kind of washing it on. Glazing, that's the word I was looking for. Glazing it on. There might be some highlight that is streaking across. I like that. Some random highlights that show up. You don't have to put everything in perfectly dark or perfectly light. Have transitions in your colors. My paper is semi-damp, so when I'm putting my shadows on, some of them are actually blurring out, and some of them are staying pretty stuck where I put them. I think that's what I was going for. I'm going to put a deeper shadow back here, and to get that deeper shadow, I'm going to take some of that burnt umber. Actually, I need to get that more wet. Are you saying do a whole month of candy? Oh, if you do candy, you can say it's nice having you as a sweet friend. Aww. I just made that really, really dark, dark color. And that is, I'm going to put some of that in right back here. Really pump up the contrast. And then I'll soften it out. But I needed a bit more contrast back here and back behind that candle cup. Coming up to the edge of the candle cup. There we go. Debbie is sharing some sentiments and ideas for Valentines that she's been collecting, which is really helping me sort of spark my imagination. A little bit darker right under the edge, and then sort of work it out. And work a bit more of that shadow from the mushroom. See, I have to kind of figure out what that mushroom shadow is like. Ah, there we go. By having the paper be a little bit more wet. We're getting that shadow working around. Softening it up here and there. You can do this as much or as little as you want. You are not limited to just doing what I do. Please use your imagination and feel comfortable knowing that you had a starting point. You had that drawing, the original drawing was just a starting point. And then you can make it as deep, what you want it to be. Oh my gosh, that really is coming together, isn't it? Need to pump up that dark way in the back there, just a bit more, right around that edge of the cup, because I want the edge of the cup to stand out. My paper is wet back here, so I can just sort of dot in that dark Prussian blue. That bark is going to be even darker. See, even though it's all in deep shadow, that bark at the back is like way darker. You can still see it. Aw, you're cute as a button. Hey, Miss Mary Myers. Welcome. Moon pies, love you to the moon and back. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so February ideas, definitely awesome. See, I figured out that having a prompt list really helps me stay a little bit more on track and focused. So when I do my next live marathon, I am going to have a prompt list, and I'm going to have ideas already, references already sitting ready to go, because that was part of my problem with last time, I think. I know that it was fun, but 14 hours, I think, is just a bit excessive. I'd like to try and keep my marathons down to around 8 hours, because then, it's like an 8-hour day. It's an 8-hour work day. People would be able to flip it on when they start work for the morning, have it running, and it would be done when they finished working. I kind of like that idea. I'm just putting some of that really dark right down in around the base of that candle. I should just zoom in. Sorry about that. I was not zoomed in. Yeah, moon pies are like 2 large, soft, cakey cookies that have a creamy whipped buttercream type filling in them. And then they're put together sort of like, if you remember Suzy Q's, the Hostess soft cakes. that were the soft chocolate cakes that were filled with that whipped creamy filling, that was along the line of a moon pie. It wasn't a moon pie, but it was along that line. I'm going to put a deeper shadow right here under this front edge, because we did make this a darker background than what the reference has, because that's one of the cool things, is being able to have a reference and then make it work out to be your own. I like that. I want to soften those up just a bit. This is the and this is the core watercolors. They are awesome sauce. They are expensive, but if you buy them in a set, you definitely get a better deal. If you buy the core watercolor like a 24 colors is like $80. It's expensive. But if you buy them individual tubes, each individual tube is like $10 to $15 or $16. So, and you don't need giant tubes of paint. You know, 5 mil paint tubes. I'm not sure what the paint tube size. I think they might be 12 mil, but the paint tubes, I mean, this is just a little squirt of paint out of a bunch of tubes. So I've got not even filled pans. They're just partially, dabs of paint. But this is going to last me for a year. I'm pretty sure. So I want to, again, pump up that shadow just a little more right under the edge of hard things. So that shadow right under the edge of that hard slab of wood, you want a harder shadow. Just along that edge. Right under the edge of the mug, we need a harder shadow. Just like that. Under the edge of that candle cup. We're not outlining all the way around. Just where the shadow needs to be hard. And you can kind of see that in the reference photo there, where those hard edges are. So really my shadow goes to the back more here. I am going to put the glow. I'm just letting this dry around here. So I'm going to put that yellowy glow of paint in the middle. So I'm taking some of that pyrrole orange and some of the cadmium primrose, and I will put it in and then wipe it out in areas. So I want to just get this really glowing in here, and I'm even going to put it up onto the container. And I'm trying to decide if I'm making this. I think I'm making this glass. So I'm going to say that you're seeing the glow through here too. We're going to make that into glass instead of metal. And look, I just dabbed it, not making it a perfect dab on that, but just by dabbing it out, now I can go around it, get more of a glow there, get more of a glow up here on that glass. The rim will actually have a bit of a glow. And because this is glass, I am going to take a tiny bit of our teal color and kind of work it in to the edge. So you're sort of seeing just a touch of that greeny color on the inside. And this actually works really well as sort of a little bit of a shadowy, yeah, look at that. How quickly that comes in and starts to look more and more like a bit of a glass jar. Thank you so much, guys. Hey, if you're watching and you're new, welcome. I am so glad you're here. And please make sure and put that subscribe button onto the on direction. I'm gonna dab that off just a bit. This is just kitchen towel. It's not, you know, it gets a little bit dirty. It gets a little bit damp. I just flip it around so I'm not putting paint back on, but I'm not worried about it being a little damp. I like that. Let's get some of that yellow, cad yellow in there. That's going to go boom right here around the flame area and down here in the puddle. Warm that up a little bit more. A little bit more of that pyrrole orange around the outside edge. I like that. Right into the yellow and kind of around the edge. I'm going to put some of that sort of peeking through the glass. I'm making this up. I don't know exactly how the glass would be showing the color, but it is just sort of the way my brain is seeing it. And that's something, you know, you develop your own style, you develop your own way of seeing things. And one of the cool things about painting like this is that you can share your vision of what something looks like, and nobody can tell you it's wrong. You can say, this is the way my heart made it feel. Put a little bit of that brighter yellow out here on the glass. I do wood so well. Thank you. It's a kind of a new, not obsession, but we did a lot of wood in that live stream. So I'm learning how to do wood. And having references really helps. Having references makes a huge difference. Next Draw Christmas, Nassim, I did a whole month of Christmas last month. I did a 31 Christmas ornaments. So I did 31 cute and creative winter ornaments. So Nassim, here you go. Here's a quick view. And this is a book that's up on Teespring also. So if you're interested, there's 31, and there's 31 videos that goes with every single, there's one video that goes with every single image in that book. So, and that was a marathon also. So if you want to learn how to draw those, look for the Am I Nuts video. It was on November 30th. So something I have been coming to the realization of, though, is that I need to do my marathon for the next month. Shouldn't be the last day of the month. If I want to be able to get the books done and have them ready, I really should be doing my marathon sometime in, you know, like around the 20th of a month. So see, I've got that sort of brown tone. Maybe this is a vanilla candle. That kind of creamy brown tone that you get. And it's glass. So, and I am putting a few little sort of shadow lines going up into the glass. This is I'm making it glass. That's out of my imagination. I'm not looking at something, but I've looked at candles and I've stared at candle cups and things like that a lot. But I know that there's something that I'm doing here that's not not exactly clear like glass, but it's okay. It's okay. I am going to grab, I've got a little bit of some of that Arteza gouache sitting on my palette right here. I'm just going to get it wet. We'll see how it re-wets. The Arteza gouache actually re-wets pretty well. It's a little bit more translucent than when it is put in fresh. I do have the mushroom to do, and I'm thinking I might put a little more gouache out. Put a little bit of that white right around the wick and down here. Let's zoom out on that. Take a look. You hope to prepare for the Pop-Tart tomorrow? Oh yeah, I'm excited for the Pop-Tart. If you're interested in what I'm talking about, that's the Pop-Tarts. It's going to be just fun. Strawberries and Pop-Tarts. I'm going to be using gouache. I'm going to just have fun. It's going to be very pretty and pink. So, oh wow. Well, one of the cool things, I still have the mushroom to do and the inside of the cup. One of the cool things is that we can go in and, oh yeah, that white gouache was very mushroom colored, wasn't it? Because there was a little bit of that kind of creamy brown that was next to it. Turned into a lovely mushroom color. So we're just going to use a little bit of white gouache and watercolor. There were some speckles on here on purpose from when I was speckling the mug. So are you from Wales? CWI. I'm not sure how, is that Cece? I'm not sure how to pronounce that. I'd love to know. It will just be regular gouache, but you could use acrylic gouache if you wanted to. I'm grabbing a touch of that. Actually, I'm just going to grab some of this brown that's on the palette that was made with, we've got Van Dyke brown, we've got burnt sienna, we have some burnt umber, and a little bit of Prussian blue, all in that area right there. So the inside bit right here is going to be a little bit darker. I'm going to put a bit of some shadow. It is wet because I put that wet gouache on there. Neat thing is that it's going to give that sort of, oh, how do I want to, kind of that chalky. All right. So you're in BC. Excellent. You are a neighbor. I'm in Washington. I'm down in the southwest of Washington. We could almost have been in the same country at some point in our past. There were times when we were part of the British here. The Hudson's Bay Company was a British company. And they had a lot of the property in Washington State. Well, it wasn't Washington State then. It was even before it was the Oregon Territory. So look at that. We're just working in that gouache. Your name is Chrissy. Okay. Nice to meet you, Chrissy. Yeah, see, the reason why I thought Wales was because the CW is one of those combinations of letters that they use. So so this has white gouache in it, which creams it up a little bit, makes it look a little more mushroomy. And I'm just searching around and finding some of those darker tones. I don't have a reference for a mushroom in front of me, so I'm kind of just winging it, thinking about it, going, well, this side of the mushroom is actually going to be darker. So I'm going to put some more dark, kind of dirty brown dark. But I'm going to leave a little bit of a highlight edge. Maybe this is an old mushroom. It's starting to get a little bit more, a little less standy up brightness to it. Maybe it's been sitting here all day waiting for this picture to be done. You know? That's pretty cool though. Welcome to the most calming moment of the day. Oh, a friend got you gouache for Christmas? Mary, that is awesome. What a lovely gift. I love the gift of creativity. I just picked up some more of that white gouache. See, because I want to sort of raise this up a little bit here. And to raise it up, what you do is you brighten it up. Then the darker areas fall down to the back. So if I do it like that, now I've got that top part light, and I'm going to put some more dark. Not too much dark, because what happens when you put dark on it, it flattens it down. Makes it fall away. Actually, do that. Just wipe it out just a little bit. The highest points. North Vancouver. Oh yeah. Well, I'm down closer to Portland, Oregon. Just put a little bit more of that gouache out. My brush is still dirty though, but I'm just trying to brighten that up just a little bit. A little bit brighter right across the top edge. Just keep working my weights down. Feels like it went out of focus. There. Back in focus. Get back in focus, you. Oh, this is feeling really nice, though. I want that edge right there needs to be a little bit darker. So I'm just grabbing sort of a combination of whatever color that is. That edge. Oh, yeah, there we go. And because the mushroom is wet, the colors are going to sort of softly bleed into each other. Oh, that makes me happy. I'm going to grab a little bit more of that Payne's Gray, mix it in. I just mixed it into the brown, so it's not super soft or super dark brown or blue color. It's warmer. It's got a bit of brown in it. There. I'm going to just put a few little dots back on here. I'm just touching it so that they blur out in that wet. You know those little speckles that happen on the mushrooms. In the shadows. Stems don't tend to have as much speckle. A little bit dark there, right around that little edge. That little edge gets a bit papery. I think I'm going to put just a tiny little bit of light gouache. Let it mix in. Maybe a bit more solid up there. I just want it to have a bit more presence and feel like it's a little more there. I don't know. It's a bit whiter. There we go. The gouache just gives it more of a mushroomy feel. I don't know. Makes it feel more solid. More solid on there than the Portland's beautiful. You went vacation there about 10 years ago and loved the Oregon coast. Yes, the Oregon coast, the Washington coast. We have friends that are in BC, up in, well, one friend that's in Vancouver that he does props for movies, armory and things like that. Really cool. And then his dad lives over in West Bank in Kelowna. So we didn't get to go up there this last summer, but we're hoping that things will get to a better place and we'll be able to get up and see them. All right. I'm fiddling. I am just fiddling along here. I think I need a little bit more brown down here on this edge, and then fill in the cup with more of the coffee. So I'm taking some burnt sienna and some Van Dyke brown and a little bit of Prussian blue. Woo, that Prussian blue really took over. More burnt umber. There we go. I'm just looking to see where my edges are. There's a bit of a shadow edge there. A little bit more right here. Kind of on the edge of that bark. Just plopping in a little bit of that color. Right along this edge here is much darker because it's being blocked by the bark. Coming around. And let's zoom out so we can see the whole thing before I get too far over. And then over here, I see a little bit more. And it's really interesting how putting just a few strokes of that really super dark just makes all the rest of it feel more solid. Doesn't that make it just feel more solid? I want to put my dark all the way to the bottom of that shadow. Right there. I'm going to take a touch of the burnt sienna. I just took it straight from the palette. That might not have been my best choice, but you know what? It's the choice I made. Just let that sort of flow together. And just on the bottom edge of that, and let it just sort of ooze up into that paint. A bit of a darker shadow. I'm just letting it flow up. So then we'll have some of that light and dark. Oh yeah. Bit more of that dark. Right there. Boom, bitty boom, bitty boom. All right. A bit of that darker shadows coming up the wood down here. Get it to the edge. Sometimes I don't take my own advice and make sure that my edges get touched. But there, as soon as I brought that down to the edge, what did that do? It made it feel like that was way more solid. Way, way more solid. I want to warm up that shadow just a bit on the wood. Bit of that burnt sienna. You have a special box of supplies waiting for you? Kamloops. Yep. See, when we go up to West Bank and Kelowna, we tend to go through the eastern side of Washington and go up. But we have done it where we've gone, up from I-5 side and work our way across and try and go through one of the less populated crossings. It's really nice. The crossings into Canada going in were so pleasant. The Canadians, especially when we were going across on the east side, because they're so used to seeing teardrop trailers and stuff coming through. But they like to look at everybody's, when we're coming back from Canada, the U.S. side always seems to stop us. But the Canadian side, they're like, oh, you're going up, you're going to have fun. Excellent. They asked us if we had any alcohol one time. I said, well, we've got 2 bottles of cider. And she's like, oh, you guys like cider. Hey, you need to stop at this place on your way, your way into West Bank. And we had a lovely little, 3-minute chat with her about where to go, how to get there. And then we were off. Oh, that is so cool. All right. The next thing is that I see, I'm actually going to take just a touch of that pyrrole orange and my yellow. I want to darken just around that flame so you see it a little bit more. And I'll soften that up because it is pooling wax, so it is soft. But it's sort of some negative painting around the flame that I put. Just a little bit, not a ton, not a ton. Oh, let's see. We've got, so, Morelli, welcome. You don't speak. I don't speak Spanish. So, very little, but welcome. Bienvenido. 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 Buenos. It's afternoon. Buenos tardes. Good afternoon. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us. Gracias. My words are very, very few. Hello, Manar. Welcome. I hope that you are enjoying this. I do need that to be brighter on top of the mushroom. It's like, boom, not quite bright enough. I don't want it to look glossy, but I do need it to be brighter. A little bit of a highlight. There we go. Okay, that's a little better. I just don't want it to be too bright. I love the wood. The mushroom is still causing me a little bit of thought. You're Brazilian. You live in Brazil. Welcome. All right, so the coffee. Coffee is just really, really super, super dark. So I'm going to take it out so I don't keep rattling it around. I'm taking some of that Van Dyke brown and just a touch of the Prussian blue. Look at that. We made a really, really dark coffee color. This coffee is dark. This is a number 12 round brush, Creative Mark Mimic. It is a synthetic brush, so that means that no animals were used in making it, in the bristles, the filaments. What would be hair is filament, so it's a... Oh, look at that dark coffee. Now we need to get the inside of that cup dry so we can shade it. I'm going to zoom out a little farther so we can take a wider look at it. Oh my goodness. We're not doing too bad. Not doing too bad. The bottom of that mushroom still needs to be darkened up some, but you know, I'm going to dry this off. We're going to color the inside of that mug. The rim of the mug is going to get a little bit more dark. So welcome, guys. If you like what you see, please make sure and click that like button. If you've come in later and you hadn't clicked the like button, if you like it, please do. And then also, if you're new, welcome. And make sure that you click that subscribe button. We are working on getting towards 100,000. Is the brush still out of stock? I haven't looked for a while. I haven't looked recently. Check. You can check Amazon and see if the Try It kit is back in stock. It's been out of stock for a while. I'm not sure. But then also check Jerry's Artorama. I'm not affiliated with them or anything, but you know, check Jerry's. So I'm taking some of that cobalt teal because that's what we use to make the cup, and some sap green because that's also what we use to make that cup color. A little bit more teal. I'm making a darker version here, and we're going to go on the inside of the cup right there. And we're going to come up and we're going to go inside of the cup right there. There's maybe a bit of a line coming around right here. We've got a few little spots of highlight that show up. I'm going to take just a tiny touch of that brown tone that we had mixed up, mix it in. See if I can darken it up just a little bit. Ooh. That's helping. See, by making those curves kind of match the curve of the coffee, it makes it feel like it is really in the cup. Hey, Baratam? Jerry's Artorama, heaven for artists. I've never been to an actual Jerry's Artorama store because they don't have them on the West Coast. But, you know, they do have online. And I have been known to drop quite a few pennies on them. Just making that a little bit darker right here. And you see I'm not using black to do my dark colors in there, right? I'm just making the cup darker, darkening up the color I used for the cup. There we are. I think I can take a touch of that darker tone right up here under the handle. See how that's Might even make that a smidge darker. Right up in that really dark place in the handle. I'm going to lighten it up a little bit. Just add a bit more water to it. But it's still darker than the outside edge of that handle. Take that darker tone up here in the grooves, and right here where it joins on that top edge, I think I'll make it way darker. So I'm just picking up a little bit of that brown tone. And my cup is wonky, and that's okay. I like it this way. It feels handmade. It feels hand thrown. It doesn't feel like it came from an actual store. It feels like it came from an artist's gallery shop. I have a lot of friends that are potters, so I've got a few hand-thrown pot type cups that really make me happy. We do have Dick Blick in Portland. I'm taking a little bit of that white gouache, kind of loading my brush up with it, and I'm going to put a touch of that kind of greeny white gouache around this outside edge. And I'm going to have it sort of feather in on the handle just a little bit. Look at that. I'm going to say that there's a little bit lighter edge. Not a ton, not super, super bright. A wonky cup is cozier. Absolutely, Chrissy. And that's the whole point of this month, is we are doing cozy, we are doing creative, comforting. I'm going around that sort of inside edge of the mug. I see in the reference that edge of the mug actually has a bit of a highlight because the light is striking it this way, so it's catching on that edge. There's a bit of a light right in here. I kind of drug off a little bit funny, didn't I? I'm going to say there's a tiny little edge of light right along the edge of the coffee. Tiny little edge of light, little sparkle. Not, you don't really see it in the reference, but it's a little sparkle. As far as my brain goes, there's a sparkle there. Shows you that edge. There's a bit of a sparkle on the outside edge here. It's not a solid outline. It's a touch and go. Touch and go. A little bit more light on the outside of that handle. I think that real pottery mugs do keep your liquids warmer. So now we need to darken up this edge over here just a little bit, but I also want to get a little bit of a glow of light from the candle. Look at that. I just took some of that mixed up pyrrole orange. It was pyrrole orange and the quinacridone gold and the yellow, the primrose yellow or cadmium yellow. So now I can take a bit of that cobalt blue turquoise, and let's flip this back around so it's the right direction. Cobalt turquoise and a little bit of that green with a touch of the brown in it. And that's going to be our shadow over here. So even though there's a glow, there's still a shadow. And the shadow is the color of the cup. It's not black or gray. I mean, it's a gray tone of the shadow of the color of the cup. Let's bring some of that darker tone down here. I will take a little bit of water and soften that up, but I just want to get that color down here. And a little bit more of it up here. We're really close to being done, guys. I'm just having fun. Well, Amy, you are certainly welcome to add a vine with roses wrapping around it. I love the imagination from our community. I'm just softening up that shadow. Maybe bringing a little bit right there. Bringing a little bit more over. Some of that softening up of the shadow is just re-wetting those, the little speckle dots that were out here. I'm looking at that going, you know, I might even bring a soft, dull glow with a little bit of gouache down here. Bring that out just a little bit. See how just that touch of gouache just makes it feel more like pottery? Gives it more substance. Just a touch. Not going to paint the whole thing in gouache. I am going to... Actually, I will probably just be using the original drawing. And that's on the bamboo paper, but you can certainly do it on the Arteza. Or would you rather me do it on Arteza? I can certainly print it out on the Arteza paper and do it that way. Just add a little bit more of that orangey bright tone. Get a little more light. Maybe a touch of it right up there at on the rim. Put a little bit of glow on the mushroom. Warm it up on that side a little. It's like, I don't know, this mushroom still, oh, that's what it was. He just needs his little speckles back. And that little edge right there just needed to be a little bit stronger. There. That's what it was. A few of those speckles back. Sort of wiggle it around. Give it some texture. And thank you. Wow. So yeah, guys, if you just came in, make sure click that like button. If you're new, click the subscribe button. Turn on your notifications if you want to be notified when I post new videos. I'm going live almost every day of the month. I am taking Saturdays off just so that I have one day to sort of recharge my battery. All right. Let's zoom that out. You can... you choose. Don't print one if you don't have to. Gouache isn't as wet as watercolor, I would think. Yeah, gouache is not as wet as watercolor. So, and this is watercolor and it worked just fine on the bamboo paper. I am going to go ahead and dry this and sign it. I am pretty much a self-taught artist. I took one drawing class in college, but my dad is an artist and I grew up learning from him. So I guess you can say my dad was my teacher. I did not go to art school, but I have, worked really hard over many, many years at drawing and painting and coloring, doodling, absolutely. Hey Gail, thank you so much. Thank you for being here. Click that like button on your way out, guys, if you're already heading out. All of these designs were done in my marathon that was on the last day of the month. But I think my next marathon will be a mid-month marathon, so I have more time to work on things. You enjoy my style? Well, thank you. Yeah, it is a handmade, self-taught style, I guess is what I want to say. It's a self-taught style. But I do have friends who are painters and artists. I watch a lot of YouTube videos. I have been watching a lot of YouTube for quite a while. Oh, I do need to sign. Let's see. I think we're going to sign right here in the wood. So it's there, but it's not obtrusive. You don't, oversee it. Yeah. Something I do like when I do gouache, I do like to take a bit of the pen. It just sort of lifts it up and gives it a little bit more of an outline, but I'm not totally outlining, it's more just putting in a little bit of the shadow. And it just lifts it up a little bit, just sort of cleans those edges. And then maybe some of my speckles, I'll put those in with the pen. Pen and ink actually is my favorite media. If anybody, if I could only do one thing for the rest of my life, I would do pen and ink. Luckily, I don't have to make that choice because I do like color. But this pen dries so quickly. It is the same pen that I used to draw the whole thing. Might even put a little detail right there. This is the Eco Pen, and it is a 0.38 tip. So actually, I am going to put just that tiny little defining edge right there. Just a touch, not too much. A little bit right here. I kind of lost the edge of my cup and the edge of that handle. Just barely touching the pen. There. Not much. But see how that tiny little line, boom, just that little bit, just brings it forward, brings the cup forward. And maybe even just that little bit of the glass right there. All right, we're going to... Chrissy, I am so glad that I have inspired you to paint. I love that this community gets inspired, does paint. So you'll see that I've got a little spot of paint down here at the bottom. That doesn't bother me, but if it bothers you, go ahead and take a spot of clean white gouache and just paint it out. And there we go. We have a lovely cup, mushroom, and candle on a wood slab. It is very three-dimensional feeling. I mean, look at that. When I tip it, oh wow. That really, this right here is very effective. It really feels lifted up. So, remember, I'm doing a live stream tomorrow. It will be at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time because I've got a dentist appointment that I forgot about. And we're doing the Pop-Tarts. Pretty pink Pop-Tarts, deep red strawberries, lovely green tops. And we're going to paint them with gouache, because I want to get my gouache skills all better, even more grown. There we go. Grow those gouache skills. There we go. And let me know in the comments below if you want a marathon of tiny houses, little cottages that then we can paint and put into whatever kind of landscapes we want. So we could put them into very fantasy or very realistic type landscapes. I'm thinking that that might be fun, maybe for March. For February, I think I'm going to do a drawing marathon of Valentine themed things, so that way I can get the book done before February so we can have it. So be on the lookout. There's probably going to be and that will probably be on a Saturday. I will probably do a marathon on a Saturday. So keep those ideas coming, keep sharing with me in the comments, and make sure that you go out and do something creative, take care of yourself so you can take care of those around you. I want to see you back here again really soon. Bye-bye.